Kala Hawad Yahweh Basham Yoshai Basham Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I rule and teach well. Peace and salutations to the brothers and the four corners of the spirit, pushing the spirit in truth and in sincerity, risking their lives more so now than ever to do so. You know? This article here is really interesting. Really interesting. I know there have been many videos. We've made videos at nausea about the side effects of the juice and the things that come into light about it and how deadly it is to the human, to any fucking living organism. Now that I think about it, right? So yeah, we just run through the article and get some precepts because I mean, what they're saying here is is wow. That's wow. All right. So it says Florida declares state of emergency as mRNA juice deaths reach critical levels. Right? I love that. And critical levels. It says something is happening in Florida behind closed doors, right? So nobody are talking about it. Mainstream media ain't saying nothing about it. In labs and government offices, a small group of senior research scientists, including the state's own Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo, are stepping out of the shadows. Right? They are risking everything, their careers, their reputations, even their life, to expose what may be the largest crime against humanity in modern history. These aren't fringe theorists. These are world-renowned experts backed by data and credibility, pointing directly at powerful figures like Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, and the global health establishment. They claim the mRNA juice aren't just their weapons of population control. You know, when I said that, I just want to say I'm not a doctor. I'm just reading an article. I mean, filtering it through the scriptures. This is not for medical advice. This is not for medical advice, right? According to official data released by the Florida Department of Health in collaboration with the scientists from MIT, which is a reputable institution, by the way. You know, a lot of things pass through MIT. You know, when they say you went to MIT, you have, you went to a good school, whatever the case may be, right? So we know it's a recognized something. It's not just no duncy, fly by night, I mean, half-assed, half-baked research. Something deeply disturbing is happening, all cause mortality is surging and the patterns can no longer be dismissed. The evidence is stacking up. The juice has already caused an alarming number of deaths. But the most chilling part, this might only be the beginning. Because according to the data, the death rate isn't just rising, it's accelerating, and if the current trend continues, we're headed toward a peak event so catastrophic it could resemble a near extinction scenario. Right? That is why I say this is interesting, because this is a catastrophic event. You understand? A near extinction scenario. For years, the global elite have been openly telegraphing their plans to slash the world's population from over 8 billion down to a so-called sustainable 500 million. And if you know anything, you know that the first commandment on the Gms.S.O.T.E is to maintain humanity under 500 million. Right? That is why that number is significant. Look it up. They've whispered it in white papers, printed it on guidestones, you see? Georgia guidestone, and spoken it aloud at global summits. But most people, they chose to look away, to plug their ears, scroll their screens, and pretend everything was fine. Those days are officially over. The veil is lifting and the data is impossible to ignore. Just like in many parts of the world, Florida is now seeing a dramatic surge in excess deaths, and this time it isn't being swept under the rug. The study led by Dr. Ladapo, Florida's Surgeon General, alongside two senior MIT research scientists, was published as a preprint on the MedRxiv, I don't know if that is pronounced, server on April 29th. But this isn't just another academic paper. It's a series of devastating truth bombs, each one backed by official government data And together they paint a picture that's impossible to ignore. MIT data scientist Steve Kirsch was not involved in the Florida MIT study, didn't mince words when he reviewed the findings. He called it a train wreck. As he wrote on his Substack, juices should never increase all-cause mortality. To earlier generations, that would have been common sense. But today in society, anesthetized by big pharma and manipulated by corporate media, that statement is treated as heresy. But here's the good news: not everyone is asleep at the wheel. Governor Ron DeSantis and his administration are refusing to look away. They are digging into the data, confronting the narrative, and pulling back the curtain on what they believe is a global depopulation agenda, engineered, coordinated, and already in motion. Because now the question isn't, is this really happening? It's how far are they willing to go before the world wakes up? As Dr. Peter McCullough explains, the science is finally catching up. Peer-reviewed studies, real research, not pharma-sponsored PR, are starting to arrive at the same chilling conclusion. The spike protein, upon the not hypothetically, but by the trick that used in military biowarfare protocols. You understand? So using biowarfare on the population, on the unsuspecting population, right? Never forget how they treated us while pushing these military-grade bioweapons onto the world. They locked us in our homes, they forced experimental injections into millions of arms under threat, coercion, and lies. Then they tried to seal the data until the year 2076 because they knew what they had done, and they were terrified of what would happen if the truth ever saw daylight. And when we dared to ask questions, they didn't answer. They silenced us, mocked us, and punished us. Across the world, from China to the US, Europe to Australia, officials fell in line. They danced to the tune of the global elite and turned authoritarian overnight. Not to protect us, not because we broke any laws, but because we refused to wear masks that didn't even protect anybody, because we refused to kneel. And that to them was the ultimate crime, independent thought, refusal to submit. Alright, it kind of goes on to be a rant after that. Well, as the point of the article is the earlier stanzas. You know what I mean? We're talking about how there's a bioweapon, a military grade bioweapon at that. You understand? That they force on surveillance. And we've been telling you all many a year, as we don't say here, for many moons. We've been warning you all against, you know what I mean, the elites, you know what I mean, the pharaohs of Egypt. But you all choose to stand with them, and you all will fall with them as well. Alright? So I'm going to go to my first precept. Alright, because the information, as the article says, is you can't hide it no more. Right? It's out and about in the daylight. You know, like Satan to and fro throughout the earth. You know what I mean? The information reaching four corners of the earth. Isaiah 26 and 21. It says, "For behold, Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose the blood, and shall no more cover her slain." Yet the blood is being disclosed now. You understand? It's being brought to the forefront. You understand? These things are also scourges from the Lord. Cannot do happen without his say so. So you have to understand that, you have to take it in that context. The Lord allowed this to happen to show all your faith in your own fucking thing. You understand? And yet still many wouldn't see it. You understand? Billions will die. Billions. Right? Will die. Right? For trusting in the system. Right? But now the information coming out. And the extinction event. You know, this kind of way. And that is what this lead to if it continues, as the article say. It's not, is this really happening, but how far they're willing to go. Right? I'm going to the book of Numbers now. We have precept. Numbers. Numbers. Rosh Natasha. Numbers 35, 33, 33. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for the blood it defile the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. And people think eye for eye is done away with. It is not. This is a law. You understand? This is the eternal law that still stands. And this is why these people have to and will be slaughtered. Because they defile, they polluted the earth many ways, not just by blood. But in the only way to cleanse the blood is by the blood of him that shed it. So they have been spilling blood for centuries. You understand? All for the dollar. You understand? Mayam shall bow saying about when the streets full with blood, I when they make the most money or something like that. Meaning, this profit more out of war during more times. Right? And this is war against the population of the earth, basically. And yet still these people are in the highest of positions, the highest of the highest positions. You understand? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked, as the scriptures say. So nevertheless it was set for it to be like that. Most are going to use them to deal with the ones who do here, as the article was saying, the ones that plug the ears and keep scrolling. You know what I mean? Now they shit it in the fan, the disclosing the blood. What more could you say? What more could you possibly say? They say a near extinction scenario, of the human race, You So all the advancement in technology, we're going backwards in time now. You're going to end up back in a dystopia, so to speak. What a time to be alive, eh? I'm going to go to my last precept here. There is Ecclesiasticus. 14 and 7, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Great. It says, and if he do it good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last, he will declare his wickedness. You all thought, he was given only the cure for something, not when he created the disease and given only something worse. You understand? Because they did mention at the point in time when they was running it that it wouldn't protect you, could still get sick, so you still have to wear your mask and so on and so forth, right? Didn't they say that? And yet still nobody, no fucking body take two and two and put it together. Everybody thought this was the best way, this was the best thing to do at the point in time, and now look at you dying. Y'all don't even know why or how. How I get this? Nobody in my family has suffered with this. I never suffered with that before. Yeah, well, you trust in Egypt, right? Scriptures talk about the trust in the shadow of Egypt. You understand? It's him that helpeth and him that hold upon, him that is hold upon. You understand? That is Isaiah 31. Yeah, 31. You understand? So, hey, at the end of the day, trusting in the system was and will be your downfall. And that is thus says the Lord. So I hope this was edifying. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yoshai, Hashem Kakodash. Until next time, Shalom.